Hello, lovelies! Welcome to my channel, or back to my channel. Mina here with a voiceover intro, because this video is a beast, so we're just jumping right into it. Also, the entire process that this video encompasses has left me questioning all of the life decisions that I made that got me to this point. Why am I here? Anyway, on screen right now you can see that I am painting stir sticks white. These are going to become the door frame for, drumroll, the sliding glass doors. That is the big feature that I am making in this video. That is the other big feature that was going in the Barbie doll room that I was so excited for, as well as the book nook, the sliding glass doors. So let's get into it. I have already gone ahead and glued a strip of coffee stir stick painted white for the bottom door frame, and this one had to be pieced, so that's like a whole stir stick with rounded edges cut off and then just a little piece. And next I'm going to grab some more pieces of stir stick and glue them into place on either side. In case you're looking at that floor going, oh, that looks different, did I miss something? No, don't worry about it. I'm trying to keep everything together in an organized manner in this video. That is more to do with the patio as opposed to the door, so how I did that is coming later in the video. This is the bane of my existence. You have no idea how hard it is to find plastic this size. I looked everywhere. Barbie packaging, the giant plastic packaging of like bulk croissant. Nothing was big enough. Plus, everybody in their packaging has like cardboard glued to the plastic, or they've got things printed, written on the plastic. Sometimes you can use like acetate to get rid of, say, a best before stamp or something on like a food item. But Barbie packaging, there's like foil writing or stuff. Nothing will get rid of that. The stickers, yeah, good luck. I tried. Vinegar. The vinegar gets rid of the paper, but it leaves the glue, the actual like sticker part behind. I tried using acetate. Acetate, in my experience anyway, turned the glue to like slime, which then spread everywhere. So for this part of the project, I wanted to use like a reclaimed or upcycled like trash item. No, I've been looking for literal months, like 2 months, to find something. Couldn't find anything. I didn't want to go out and buy. I ended up finding a poster frame that I had gotten from Michael's like a decade ago, because I bought what this came from for that poster there, but I didn't properly measure it, and the poster frame ended up being way too big. I kept it because I wasn't sure if I could use it for something, and I just kind of stuffed it behind my dresser, and there it sat for at least a decade. I don't think I will ever have any, well, now I definitely won't have anything that I can put in it, because this is from that poster frame. It's like the glass, you know, that covers the poster. And yeah, I ended up just cutting it down because I'm desperate at this point. There's nothing else I can use that's big enough to fit the hole in the wall of this room. And no, I couldn't have made the hole any smaller. You know, I needed it big enough so that, like, Barbie could walk through without having to, like, you know, duck down all awkwardly. I know it's not a huge big deal. I don't have to make this realistically, but I want to. Also, I think it's going to look better for, like, posing and photoing when it's all done. So, all of that to say that I have 2 pieces of this that I cut from a poster frame, and I measured the inside of the opening, like from the inside and inside. So what I ended up getting for these, now if depending on what size you make yours, if you're going to make your own, these measurements might not be what you're going to need to go with, but mine is like 1 ruler nub away from 12 inches in length and like 1 ruler nub away from 4 inches in width, because I need it to fit inside the hole. Okay, what I'm going to do now, remove the plastic, and all of these wooden sticks that I have painted, they come in use. So what I'm going to do is use these now to frame even with the measuring that I did ahead of time, still too big. So to cut down my stir sticks, I use this pair of jewelry pliers, which I originally purchased for jewelry making, and I quickly decided that was not a hobby that I wanted. But these work really awesome for miniatures. I don't get quite as much torque. I think that's the word I'm looking for. So needle nose pliers would probably be better. But I store these with my miniatures, so, while I'm getting out all my supplies, they're already there. It's just easier. On this side, I am gluing the sticks right up against the edge. On the opposite side of the long ends, I'm gluing the stir sticks so it hangs over a little bit. That's just to make them just a wee bit bigger, because I accidentally cut them a little too small. I do want a little bit of overlap. Oh yeah, if you're snipping, whether you use little pliers or big pliers or whatever, if you're going to be using like pliers to snip stir sticks or any kind of like thin wood, I like to do it, pretend this duct tape is my garbage can. I like to do it like this, pointing down, so that the little end that snips off shoots down into the garbage, instead of halfway across the room that I step on, months later. A little scrap of tissue paper, paper towel, or even a paintbrush helps to remove some of that leftover glue if any squirts out. It's a good idea to get that before it dries. I just find that easier to remove if you want your glass to look clear. The smaller top and bottom pieces I glue so there's no overhang. Okay, so that's all glued. I'll just get a nice heavy scrapbook, set it on top, and leave things alone to dry. 30 minutes later! Okay, let's see. Excellent. And I did that twice, so I now have 2 fully framed plexiglass doors framed on both sides. Now I'm going to glue the first door in that side. I'm gluing it right to the side, to the top, to the bottom, and right up against the outside layer of the track. This is going to be the stationary door. I could just leave it and say that I glued this door in and everything went according to plan, no issues. But that would be a lie. And I don't want to do that to you. Because, yeah, if you try to do something like this yourself and find that it's extremely more difficult than you expected, I'd like you to know ahead of time what you're potentially jumping into so that you can be better prepared than I was. Okay, anyway. After I had glued this door in its position, it looked pretty much exactly the same, except that it didn't fit. Once I glued it in, even though I had measured like 12 different times when I was setting this whole thing up, making sure that I'd be able to fit both doors, once I got that glued, it didn't fit. Suddenly, this door, now pretend it's on the other side because I just don't want to rearrange the camera. This door came out like that far. So I would have had to do like a, yeah, I'm not doing that. To make tiny little pieces so I can like 3D, no, I want this to be like smushed. I want it to fit in these spaces. So in order to do that, what I ended up doing on this piece is I pulled it back out, thankfully before the glue had completely dried. And I ripped off the short end, just on one side, on both the bottom and the top. So when I glued it back into place, instead of having a stir stick in between the plexiglass and the stir stick track here, now the plexiglass is glued directly to the tracks, both at the bottom and at the top. I have also gone in because there were some holes with wood glue to fill in those holes. And I think, yeah, it looks much better. It's still a little yellowed, so I'll probably go in with another coat of white paint to make it look a little bit fresher, cleaner. And yeah, now we're finally ready to move on to finishing this sliding glass door. So what I'm going to do now with this piece, this doesn't get glued in, it's just going to get set in the track. Like so. And then on the other side, from the inside, what I'm going to do now is take the last of my painted coffee stir sticks, and these are going to get glued up at the top, being very careful to only glue on the frame and on these sticks. I don't want any glue to get on this door because I still want it to be able to move. Oh, I hope this works. If you're the praying type, please, to your God or deity or whatever, say a prayer for me. Okay, I've potentially come up with a better idea. Hot glue. Since I'm probably going to need to fill in gaps anyway, since nothing in this project has been square, I think I'm just going to put the tracks in and then use smeared hot glue to keep it in place. And we'll see if that works. I think I'm also going to try and put a piece of scrap contact paper, and then in theory, hopefully I can just pull it out. We'll see. It's like anything else with this project, it's going to go wrong too, but we won't know until we try. Please don't, please don't, please don't. Well, that ripped out nicely, so that, woohoo! That was more painful than it needed to be. And it looks ugly. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see if this works. Or if I have just sealed this open. Ugh. Glue strands. Still hate them. I think we have success. Not my best work, but I think we have success. It does, not easily, but successfully, open and close. Well, it opens easily that far. Now I'm going to pretty up the inside with some wood glue to fill in the holes. Now let that dry, and then white paint. I went in with some wood glue to sort of fill in and pretty up this corner. It got a little messy. Sadly, there's some yellowing. So I have mixed up, this is just paint, no wood glue. A nice gray, and I mixed it in the same container that I was mixing up my wood glue for the mortar, so I would get a similar color. And I'm just going to go in and paint this corner a little bit. Hide some of that yellow. There we go. That's a little better. There's still a little bit of yellow. I might go in and fix that later. Or I might just leave it. It kind of adds to like the shadow and contrast in the corner. I just went in and dry brushed a little bit over top of the particularly yellow areas to try and make them a little bit less yellow. That definitely looks better. Now I'm going to attempt to turn this into concrete, or at least make it look like concrete. That's the plan. I'm going to start with a piece of tin foil. This is a scrap from, well, it was a protective surface when I did my 100 layers of splatter painting, which video is on the channel. I'll link it up above and in the description below if you want to see it. That was a fun one. Anyway, I'm going to take this scrap and crumple it up. And we're going to see about making little like pits and dents. I don't know if this is going to work because of the paper that's over the foam. I might have to remove that layer, but I'm going to start and see. No, I'm going to remove the paper. So okay, now that the paper has been mostly removed, I couldn't get it all the way in there, but that's okay. I'm going to now use my tin foil to make some like pits and dents and scarring and sort of all the little marks that concrete would naturally have. And so the paint that flaked off the tin foil. Now I'm going to go in with a toothbrush and add a little bit more weathering. And I'm not going for anything too precise. I just don't want any large spaces with nothing going on. But I'm not going for any particular details or pattern or anything. Okay, now I'm going to go in with some paint washes. I've mixed up a very watery white paint and I've watered down the gray that I used in the corner there. And I'm going to start with the white and just sort of pool and puddle it. Okay. Wipe up the splatters before they dry. Now I'm going to go in with the gray. Slapping it on. Okay, and then one technique I saw recommended going in with a paper towel to sort of blend and soften. Fresh piece to go into the corners so I don't mess up my bricks too much. That made quite the mess on my table, but I think that's pretty good for a first layer. I'm going to let that dry and then I'm going to go in again. I want to keep, I think, the layers nice and thin though, because this wall over here up at the top, it's still a little warped from all the glue and paint from putting the bricks on. putting this wall in has helped to stabilize the outer wall, but I don't want any weird warping on the floor. I think having this wall in is going to help, having that structure, but I still don't want to risk it, so I'm going to keep the layers of paint for the concrete nice and thin as much as I can, because it's all the acrylic paint, and obviously water is all, you know, water soluble. It'll soak in, it can warp. I want to prevent that as much as possible. So I'll let that dry and then do some more. Okay, I've just gone in with a darker gray, and now I'm just going to okay, that corner looks a little weird because the paper that was stuck there, but I'll put a plant or something there. So I won't even have to look at it. It'll be fine. So that's basically all there is to it. It's just adding white and different shades of gray and blending and bouncing, doing this kind of stipply thing until you get it where you want it. And I think I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to call that the finished concrete. That looks really awesome. I didn't go right up to the wood, partly because that's just a sticker and I was afraid it would peel if it got too wet, and also because there's going to be a door frame on the floor here, so that'll get covered up anyway. I gotta say, I wasn't sure that was going to work. It just seemed too easy. But that looks, I think anyway, rather good. So I've gathered up a bunch more coffee stir sticks in 2 separate sizes. These are the long ones. I've gone ahead and just cut the rounded edge off, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 8 of the long ones. These ones are shorter. You can see there's the difference there. Other than size, I don't know what the difference are. I bought them both from Dollar Tree, and just one time I bought them, they were this size, and the next time I bought them, they were smaller. I don't know why. But I have 8 of the long ones and 4 of the short ones. For 2 of them, I just cut the ends off, and the other 2 I have measured. So what I'm going to use these for is on this. I haven't decided if it's going to be a balcony or a porch yet. Either way, it's going to have like a railing. So for these, I measured from the wall out to the corner and cut there. And then for this one, these 2 pieces will be together from the wall there, and then I just needed that much extra to go right from the wall to the corner on the long way. And now, because everything in the balcony and or porch area, the concrete and the brick wall, it's all gray. So what I'm going to do now is just get some black paint and paint all of these stir sticks. I'm hoping it's going to give it more of a wrought iron as opposed to a wood look. And if nothing else, I think the black will just coordinate with the whole look better than the pale wood.
These painting clips may only be a couple minutes in the video. In reality, they took closer to an hour. I'm just putting it out there for full transparency. This is what goes on behind the scenes. Miniature building isn't all magic edits. It's not for the faint of heart.
Okay, I'm going to start with the longer of the stir sticks. These are going to be, I don't know what this is called. not the railing, but the part that holds up the railing. And I've got 8 of these that need to be divvied up between the short end and the long end. And before I start, I forgot to mention, I also went ahead and painted the edge of the foam board black all the way around the concrete portion, just to clean it up and make it look, I just think that looks nicer. I think I'm going to start in the corner because this is going to be really important to have the railing balanced on the corner, because there's going to be a join there. Got one piece to go here and then one to go there, and they're going to need something at the corner. Okay. And it's done! I know. I meant to show the process. I tried to film, I really did, but shit went sideways hardcore. It was impossible. I couldn't get any usable footage from that process, but let's just say it wasn't fun. So I'll give you the little recap. What I did basically is to divide up the sticks. I measured from the wall to the corner here. I put a stick in the corner and then this one in the middle, just based on that measurement. And then I measured from the corner to the other wall, divided that by the number of sticks, and got my increments. Although I'm not sure exactly, I did something wrong there, I think. Because I had 8 sticks, but I only needed 7. But when I planned this, I needed 8. I don't know what happened. So at each of the increments, which ended up being about 2 1/4 inches, I made a little mark. And then to get the sticks in the concrete, I basically just drove them into the foam board. I mean, it's just foam, so it's nice and squishy. And I just jabbed the sticks in and then pulled them back out briefly to put a little bit of glue. It's just tacky glue. The foam is really nice to glue too. And the tacky glue dries clear, so it's the perfect combination. So that's how I got the sticks into the concrete. And that part caused me no issue whatsoever. The railings were a little tricky trying to get them to be level, or as level as I could get it. So you'll notice I have some heavy stuff because everything has just kind of warped. That caused some issues for the railing and getting it level. After fiddling around and putting some heavy stuff down, I was able to figure out where this one should go. This was the first one that went in. It was nice and easy. I lined up where it was supposed to go, made a little mark, and then used my craft knife to cut into the brick, well, the egg carton and the foam board. And it's kept in by the contact paper wallpaper over here. So I just cut that, shoved the stick in to like make sure it would fit, added a little tacky glue, and then secured it in place. On this side, I whoopsied because, yeah, everything was just warped. And I accidentally cut a hole a little bit bigger, so you can see sort of how I cut. That was not intentional, though. So yeah, I just cut a hole and tried not to go through the other side of the paper, just through the egg carton and into the foam board. And it worked both times. So it worked up here, and then I found out that was too tall, so I had to make a new hole. And because there's no contact paper on this side, I used a little hot glue to lock that in place after I tacky glued it into the foam board. And then getting the railing to stick to the support sticks was a nightmare and a half. Nothing would stick. It refused, like all of the glue. I first tried using tacky glue. Nope. I think, again, because everything was warping, nothing would stick properly, and I don't have the patience to stand there with each individual one sort of securing everything for like 20 minutes. I couldn't do it. I tried using hot glue to speed up the process, but the hot glue refused to stick to anything. It would literally dry and then like pop off. So what I ended up doing is I put hot glue, I put tacky glue on the top of the vertical stick and then stuck it to the railing and then sort of shored up that join with some hot glue, which I think you can see it's a little cloudy, to sort of sandwich it. And hopefully the plan was to have the hot glue sort of hold it in place while the tacky glue dried. I think that worked. As for the sections of railing, because it was in 3 parts, the only thing I could get to work was tape. And I chose to go with washi tape because it's paper-based. So I'm hoping that I can just paint over it. Just paint it black and it'll blend in. That's the plan anyway. I'm not thrilled with this railing. It doesn't look as cute as I had hoped it would. I'm still angry at it, even after a good night's sleep. It's still, just looking at this still fills me a little bit with rage, but it's fine. We're gonna keep moving on. And with that, March Miniature Madness is finally over. Oh, for the entire month of March, I have been working almost exclusively on this build, and it has driven me mad. Not that I have much sanity to begin with, but woo, it's been a trip. Now, miniatures being miniatures and me being me, this is not done. I am very likely going to add things, possibly change some stuff up, but for the purposes of this video saga, the build is done. So now what I'm going to do before I close out the video is add the furnishings, accessories, and decorations that I either already had, bought, or made for this room. This really excited me when I found it. It's an obviously plastic plant, but I really liked, I think this is actually concrete. I really liked the container, and inside are real rocks. So I thought that was pretty cool. I got this from my local Dollorama for $2, and I think it's going to live right there in the corner. And the only other thing I currently have for the patio is this lovely little mesh bag. This was a larger bag that I cut down and sewed. I used paper to sew through the mesh because, as wonderful as Wendy is, I feared that the mesh would get caught and destroyed. So I put some paper to stabilize. I couldn't rip it all off without ripping the stitches, but you know, it kind of matches the overlocked or sergered side. And in the bag I have little miniature clothespins, and I have tied some jute twine to the bag so that we can put it on these hooks. I've put 2 hooks. These were made from a paper clip, a single paper clip. That's one of the loops, and that's one of the other loops. I just shoved it inside, in between the brick and the wallpaper, or on this side, the brick and the paper. I think I'm going to have to reinforce with probably some hot glue or something, or maybe replace the hooks altogether, but for now, it works for a clothesline. Eventually, I'd like to get some seating, but for now, that's the balcony patio porch. Now to move inside and decorate in there. I'm going to start by putting things on the shelves in the reading nook, starting with 2 books that can open and have individual pages. I made these for the first Barbie room I made, so if you've seen that video, these will be familiar to you. Put them in there. Also from that first Barbie room are my Perler Bead starter Pokemon in 3D. I think they're so cute. I have another toy to put on. It's a little mini brands. I think that's the name of it. They're like mystery balls. I have 5 toys in each one. Well, this is the best one that came out of one of the Disney branded balls. Animator Studio doll. Ariel. The best one, of course. She's my favorite princess. And I love these. The Animator Studio dolls are so beautiful. So to find one in miniature is really, really cool. On the shelf she goes. I have made a bunch of books. These are books that I've read so far this year. I scanned and printed the covers over the backs. I colored in what was on originally the back and wrote in the month and the year, so I'll remember when in 2023 I read each of these books. And then I just put them on foam board, glued them in place, so these ones don't open, and they're covered in tape, just some clear packing tape to protect them. So I can take them on and off the shelf, pose them with Barbie, and I don't have to worry about the covers getting ripped or worn away. I have 2 other books to add to the shelf. I also made, they're a different style, they also don't open, or do they? This is the company that I got the kits from. I got NorseSmiths and The Little Mermaid, of course. If you know me, it's obvious why. And let's take a look at NorseSmiths. It opens. It does open. And inside is this really cool picture of Asgard, the Rainbow Bridge, and Mjolnir. The Little Mermaid. Opens up, and inside is this really cool picture of the ocean and a teeny tiny mermaid. And yes, I painted her. I gave her red hair and purple shells. I couldn't resist making her look like Ariel, even though this is the Hans Christian Andersen version. I think they look so cool. So on the shelf, these will go. I felt like the room needed some pictures. You always need art, photos, that kind of stuff in a room to, you know, make it more personal. So I got this little frame from a Christmas cracker, and I printed a little picture for it. These are Megan and Sundance, My Little Ponies. I've sold those on to other collectors because I just don't have the space to store them anymore. But I took pictures before I sent them on to their home. And I'm glad I did, because now I can put her in a picture frame on a shelf. And I got this little frame. This was a keychain I found at Dollar Tree. And I just cut off the little keychain part and sanded that down. And then put in a little picture of my dolls. I posed them in front of a Christmas Barbie background to give it that department store photo cheesiness. And I stuck some duct tape on the back because I don't know where exactly this is going to live. I'm just putting it somewhere for now. I think right here, maybe. I also made another piece of art for this room. This one started with this piece. I found it while walking on the beach one day. I don't know what it is. I'm pretty sure it's plastic though. But I took one look at it and thought, Batwing. So I ran with it and made a little mixed media bat flying through a starry night picture. I think that's quite pretty. And I think I'm going to put it on this wall. I put duct tape on the back of the painting as well because I don't think that's where it's going to live. But for now it looks good. Now I have 2 dolls and only one place to sit. So I solved that with some wood pallets, miniature wood pallets that I found from Dollar Tree. I thought these were really cool. One thing I really liked about them is that I can lay these out and it becomes a bed. Although that's not very comfortable. So I made a mattress. This is leftover, I think it's fleece, from my daughter's Halloween costume. And it's just stuffed with like a plastic foam from packaging. And that looks cute like that. But no bed would be complete without a pillow. I just whipped this one up with some scrap white cotton that I had, and it's just filled with some extra fluff from a cosplay accessory that I made almost a decade ago. Anyway, I thought a bed could use a blanket. And if it happens to get cold, I have the quilt that I made for my first Barbie room. I can go on top. But nobody needs to sleep right now, so let's fold up the quilt and the blanket. Stick that and shove the pillow in there too. That's a good spot for it. Now what I do for this is stack the pallets with one up. But that's not very comfortable. And that's why this comes in 3 sections, because it can fold up and become a cute little seat. I also whipped up a pillow with a sock that was well loved to the point of having holes. I mean, look at those cat faces. That's so cute. So I just cut the part off that had the holes and sewed it up and filled it with coleslaw, also known as tiny scraps of fabric. And I could just go here, you know, to just look pretty, or even a headrest. Suddenly that bench seat doesn't look so comfortable. Good thing I made another pillow out of old leggings in a lovely mermaid pattern that matches the color of the room. That corner looks a little empty. I think we'll put the plant from my last Barbie room right in there for now. Perfect. Oh, one more thing. Now it's perfect. Well, that was my incredibly ambitious Barbie dollhouse room with book nook, sliding door, and balcony / patio. I didn't think I'd get it done in March. It's March 30th, and it's as done as it's going to get for now. I would call that a success. From me and my dolls in their brand new room. Thank you very much for trekking along with me throughout this March miniature madness. I hope you enjoyed this video saga. I had fun sometimes. And now I'm going to bed and I'm going to take a nice long break. I hope you enjoyed this video, lovelies, and this whole making of process. I hope you found it at least entertaining, if not inspiring. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, stay fabulous. Bye!